session itself. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. So maybe let's just start with the role of a stevedore. So basically, what I would like to find out is that what would be your understanding of their role, like as a stevedore?
Yeah, stevedore, what is it? Is the person who's a company basically. It's an entity
Mm-hmm.
who are assigned
Okay.
the responsibility for the safe and efficient cargo handling, storage on board the vessels. Okay, they only deal with the cargo unloading and loading,
Mm-hmm.
and also sometimes they look at the transportation of the cargo into the terminal.
Mm. Okay.
So
And
that is
yeah. And
yeah. So
who? Yeah. Sorry. Please
yeah,
continue.
yeah. That's what they have. The things the stevedores they basically work in the ports for these ensuring the efficient loading of cargo, and
Mm-hmm.
they can be ranging from different people, like people who go in on board the ships and work inside the holds for some, depending on the type of cargoes. It could be different types of cargoes. You got container cargoes, you got grain cargoes, you got conveyor cargoes which are loaded by a conveyor belts. Okay, so you have the stevedores who and they could be even crane operators who operate the cranes. They could be forklifters who use heavy lift equipment. Stevedores is a wide range of people working under for the loading of ships. They could be even drivers, like car
Mm.
carriers have people who drive the cars into the ship and lash it up. So there could be a lot. It's quite widespread. This range of stevedores.
Mm. I see. And who do they report to?
They would report. They will have a supervisor, basically, who
Mm-hmm.
would be assigning them duties.
Mm.
So they would report to the main supervisor, and then above that they will have the managers. The supervisor will come under the managers.
See. And what would be their daily routine like?
Their routines are like they normally work on shift works.
Mm.
Okay, so their routines will be for the loading and unloading of the vessel. They will liaise between the ship staff and the some people depending on the type of vessels. Like a bulk carrier, they'll have a steward coming and liaising with the ship staff when he wants to move from one hold. It's maybe a loader, it may be a crane, it may be something to do. So you will liaise with the ship staff, like and say we need to move from this hold to this hold. We are going to change the cargo operations. So in those cases they'll be liaising with the ship staff and whatever. They could be a crane operator or whatever. They could be liaising with those two people, or maybe more people. It could be many. On a car carrier, they could be roll on roll off ships. They could be just liaising because they will not think they plan everything with the show planners. So they'll be liaising with the show people about where the ships to go, where the cars are to be loaded, where whatever has to be loaded. For containers, they will be liaising with the planners. Okay, there will be a central container planner who gives them the container plans of where these containers are to be loaded. So they will be loading with the container, the terminal manager, whoever is there in the terminal, they will be liaising with that person.
Mm.
So it's quite diverse, the stevedores. The stevedores could be on depending on the type of cargo you're loading.
Yeah.
It will be determined on the type of ship which you're going to load, and those are the things which would be coming into play when the stevedores are decided.
See. And what would be their main priorities?
Main priorities would be to safely and efficiently load the ship, avoid delays.
Mm,
Okay, the main thing is to avoid delays of the ship. Okay,
mm.
because time is money for them. The main priority
Yeah,
is safety and efficiency will be their main two priorities.
I see. Okay, that's very good. And what sort of improvement do you think they'll be looking out for to improve their workflow?
Equipment, that's the infrastructure is, I don't think really looking at the maintenance of these equipment to safe working of these equipment because this is a show mechanical because it can be, I told you, it's quite diverse. It could
Mm,
be a crane, it could be a gantry. A gantry is a mobile crane which has uh, uh, you understand what a gantry is? These container terminals, they have these big arms spreaders. Have you seen a container terminal, Zoe?
Container
You know,
as
these
in which part?
these these cranes which use lift containers.
Mm, ye-
Hmm.
um, yeah, yeah, I think I've
Yeah,
seen it. Yeah.
yeah.
Mm,
So they can be looking at different equipment. One it could be a crane operator, one it could be a gantry operator. Next thing it could be uh, a person driving
mm,
big heavy lifts in the port. Okay, because then it could be like sometimes what happens bulk cargo once the cargo is low because they need to pick it up. They call them forklifts or they call excavators.
mm,
Okay, they all come under the same umbrella of stevedores. They
I
will come
see.
and operate the ship, the excavators inside in a bulkhead inside the ship. They will come on board the ship and put it into the cargo hold and use these excavators to pull out the cargo from the sides and put
Mm,
it in the center so that
mhm,
whatever equipment, it could be a crane and grab coming and picking up the cargo and discharging it ashore. It could be a suction sort of thing. Some ships have suctions and helix, which can semi cargoes. They have these equipment which come on board. They control it remotely. They could be operating that. So stevedores is quite a diverse field. It could be operating
mm,
a conveyor belt, could be operating equipment, it could be operating cranes, and then you could also have manual people. Like some cargoes are loaded manually,
mm.
like it comes in slings or in bags, which they are lowered down into the cargo hold and they need to unhook it. So these guys are manually go and remove the hooks and um, moves, put like guide the cargo wherever it needs to be stored in the cargo hold. So the range of equipment can't be pinpointed to a few handful. There are thousands of equipments which could be used specific for different cargoes.
Yeah,
Okay, so it's
mm,
quite a wide range of equipment.
I
Okay, like
see.
for some cargoes, I know they have some special types of grabs. For some cargoes which are scrap metal, they use magnets to pick up the cargo and then demagnetize it to drop the cargo.
Mm,
So it's very diverse.
mm. And what sort of common challenges would they face?
Common challenges are equipment breakdown.
Mm,
Okay, then they could have problems with the ship. Ship equipment also could have a problem and may not work properly if they depending. Sometimes stevedores come on board and use the ship equipment for discharging. Sometimes they use the shore equipment for discharging. Okay. So the thing is, equipment main problem is equipment failure is the common problems they have. Then time the cargo could have a problem. Okay, the cargoes may not be up to the specifications.
mm,
That could be one of another problem which these guys could face.
I see. And
Okay,
so how do they overcome them?
equipment they got to fix it. They got to there's going to be delays basically. Ultimately, it's going whenever a cargo they maybe reject that lot of cargo or wait for a fresh lot or just to go through surveys or whatever.
Mhm,
Okay, so those are the main challenges. The cargo comes, if the cargo interest, if the cargo it's not in their hands, it's the cargo supplier who's giving the cargo because they basically handling the cargo to be put it on board the ship and offloaded from the ship.
And what would be their safety point of view?
Safety could be anything, like they are working at heights, they're working under suspended equipment, they're working under suspended loads, they're working in a noise environmental area, they're working in a dusty environment. It's quite diverse. Okay. And then they're working in a high congested area, maybe like a guy may be driving a container in a container terminal, a lot of equipment are moving here and there. So they could have an accident there. And stress is another factor, and fatigue is also another factor because they work long hours. Some of them, some of the terminal do 12-hour shifts. Okay. So, and then the environmental challenges which they have, depending on the hot, cold, they're exposed to weather, the elements of weather, because the ship doesn't stop. If a car, if it rains or whatever, on a container vessel, they're continuously loading, whether it's raining or not raining. On a grain ship, they can't do that. They have to stop the cargo, depending on the type of cargo. Certain ships can load the cargo on a car carrier. They're not going to stop the loading of cars on a car carrier because they can drive it in and go to the ship. So the challenges are, I told you, like you noise and thing, then the exposure to dust, like now in car carriers, they exposure to car vapors, like the fumes of car engines running, the gas is are there. So all those are the safety aspects they face.
I see. And how will they manage a safety issue other than weather conditions?
What do you mean safety issue means other than weather?
Yeah, so
See, firstly, they
like
need to be trained, they need to be competent for the work they are doing. Okay, you can have a crane operator
yeah.
who may not be skilled enough. Okay, he may take a lift and because of his nervousness or whatever, knock it somewhere. So each operator has the skill level is one of the things. The level of training for them is a paramount importance for their level for their efficiency and their safety.
I see. So
Okay.
training is part of their job.
Yes. They need to be trained for that job.
I see. And who will they
And then
report?
also the other thing is
Yes.
they have to wear proper personal protective equipment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who will they report safety issue to?
They will report it to their supervisors. Then the another thing is the equipment has to be in good condition. They need to have proper checks of the equipment. Okay, lighting, all these things come into in a terminal or proper lighting is a requirement. Proper communication is not a thing because when they are communicating, sometimes they're working in a noisy environment. So positive communication also is very important for the safety of these people because sometimes they may get a command saying that something is going to be brought. If they don't hear it properly, because most often they use either walkie-talkies or radios, VHF sets to communicate.
I see. Any idea if they are using any digital tools?
Digital tools in what sense?
For whether is it for communication or reporting an incidents or stuff like that.
Each communications they will use digital tools, but like on the spot communication between ship and shore, they are normally using portable handheld radios, which is the primarily the main means of communication. But other communication between because they are on the move at the terminal, they can't bring a device and sit there and get a thing on the phone. Most of them do not permit that. So they will be using handle because these handle things are on the spot communication. And So it's on the
Okay.
speaker, and helps them to communicate in a noise. It's a louder speaker, so it helps them to communicate in a noisy environment
Mhm.
better.
And are they tech savvy?
It depends, Zoe, because it
Mm,
depends on the places where you're dealing with. Some things are very primitive, some are very tech savvy.
mm,
Okay, the countries, it depends on which country your distributors are working. Like
yeah.
you may go to China, India, and some places, they're still primitive. They have VHS, but they still use the traditional methods of manual labor.
Mm,
Okay, some are very tech savvy.
mm,
They have computerized programs which help them to deal with their plannings and all that.
I see. And have you came across any that's using RightShip products?
No, never come across.
And if they are not with RightShip, what do you think will entice them to get on board on the RightShip products?
What would
Mm. What sort of benefits will they be looking out for um, in order to attract them to use a RightShip?
I'm just trying to think how we could. Technically, we're very limited resources we have to venture into their field because it's more of
Mm,
equipment, show equipment. It's nothing to do with maritime equipment.
mm.
Okay, so distributors, uh, it's very difficult field to get into there.
Mm.
An organization. Trying to figure where we could, in which area we could look at it. Right now, just nothing comes to my mind. So, because
It's all right.
whatever
Yeah,
we have on our platform,
yeah.
they get it directly through basically they need plans of the ship. Okay. Stevedores
Okay,
also
so
need
they
they
need
need
the
ship
plans
plan.
of the ship.
They need some plans of the ship and all that to have enough idea of what type of ship is coming. They will need a
I see.
general
Okay.
arrangement plans, which is normally given to them by the agents.
But in what format? Is it on paper or is
Yeah,
it
they send them the PDF formats or whatever.
okay, okay. So
Email to
maybe
them. The ship has plans, so they give them a layout of the ship. Basically, the stevedores also want to know uh how big the ship is, where the cranes are, if the ship is geared, or where the position of the ramps are. So whatever,
mm,
depending on the type of ship it is.
I see. So maybe that is something that would be beneficial to them.
Yeah, but right ship does not have the plans of ships.
Mm,
Yeah, we don't have. We only have the principal particulars on our platform. We don't
mm,
have the general arrangement plans or whatever the capacity plans. We do not
I see.
store. Yeah,
Yeah. So but all these plans are pretty much pre-planned, right? Before the ship comes in.
yeah. These plans are made at the time of building the ship. So these all designed to scale, they're drawn to scale, and they give a general overview of the ship. Okay, these are drawings basically.
Okay. So
Okay.
basically these plans are um necessary for them
Yes,
before
some,
a
not
ship
all.
comes
Some of
in.
them will need that.
Mm,
Okay. Like a car carrier will need to know the bay plans of where the cars are. For a container ship, they need to know the bay plan of the ship.
mm,
Okay, so they need those stuff. And right now, most of it is all automated, and container vessels, they get it through they have softwares which are already sent by the ship, and it is basically sent as a package to the planners.
Mm. Okay.
So it's to get into that field of containers and all that is difficult.
Mm.
I don't see us venturing into those because they already have softwares for those.
Mm.
Uh,
Mm. And if we do build any products for this group of people, who will be paying for all these digital efforts?
the distributor company only will need to pay for all this.
Mm. See.
Okay, if
Okay.
it's
Maybe we can move on to the next role of
yeah,
a marine pilot.
yes.
Mm. What would be your understanding of the role of a marine pilot?
Basically, a marine pilot is a person with significant knowledge of the and local knowledge
Mm.
and experience and professional providing guidance to bring the ship to allow the ship to berth in a port to
Mm.
safely berth and unberth.
Right.
Okay, so you can be berthing, unberthing, or even anchoring the ship.
Mm.
Okay, he has local knowledge and he has the local language also. He communicates because with the pilot, well, along with the pilot, you get the tugs, you got the mooring crew, you
Mm.
got the pilot boats, all
Yep,
those people, and the dock masters. All those he communicates with them.
I see.
Okay, so he has a local knowledge of the port,
Mm.
and he has experience of taking vessels in and out of that port.
Mm.
Okay,
Mm. And who do
so
they report to?
he also will report. Some of the pilots come under the umbrella of the port. You have the harbor masters govern controlling the whole pilot organizations.
Mm.
Some pilots have their own independent organization. Okay, so they have their normal uh, role of chain of command. So they will have like their CEO and their managers and supervisors or whatever. Their normal
Mm.
hierarchy will be over there. But most of the ports, some of them, the pilots come under the harbor master.
I see. And what would be their daily routine like as a marine pilot?
They're on shifts. They
Mm.
are on shifts, and they will be given a roster, and depending there will be a scheduler who schedules the ships coming into the port. So these pilots will be assigned certain vessels depending on what type, how the pilot is, his skill level. There's
Yeah.
some pilots who are skilled only for small vessels. Some pilots are skilled for larger vessels. So
Mm.
depending on they have their level of skill sets. So they'll be classed for the port is or each port will be designed to handle certain size of ships.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So
Mm.
certain pilots may not be capable of handling very large ships, so they need to go through the training process and get to those levels.
Mm. Okay, understood.
So he will
Mm.
be assigned a vessel. He will go. His duty would be go in and bring the vessel from wherever it may be coming from. They have normally a ship comes into port. The ship at the port they have something called as a pilot station where the ship comes and presents itself to be boarded by that pilot.
Mm.
So they have a sort of a pilot station, which is called a pilot boarding ground. It's certain a demarked area where the pilots can safely board the vessel. They don't need to go too far because most often the pilots they want the ships to come to a safe area because they need to board the vessel. They need to go by a launch.
Mm.
Pilots can board either by a launch or some places, if it's too far out, they board by helicopter.
Mm.
Okay. So
Right.
that is what they do. If it's by helicopter, either they have the helicopter will have different options, whether they can either winch them down, they can put them by a winch on a harness and drop them down, or it can helicopter can land and drop them down. Depending on the type of ship, how it is, the size of the helicopter, it has to have a winching area or a landing area. On pilot boats, if he's boarding, he goes via a small boat. The boat goes alongside a vessel, and the vessel rigs up what is called a pilot ladder, where the pilot climbs. It's a rope ladder which the pilot climbs and gets on board the vessel. Okay,
Uh,
so
mm,
the pilot, you will be scheduled to bring this vessel. Once he is scheduled, depending on the size of the vessel, they will design certain tugs. Okay, the vessel may be a small vessel, or maybe some vessels may be require 3 to 4 tugs. Some vessels maybe they can go up to 5 to 6 tugs. But a standard vessel will normally take 2 tugs.
mm,
Okay, so the tugs come along with the pilot. When the pilot brings the vessel in, he goes on board. He discusses with the master what is the plan, how they're going to take the vessel. They will decide already it is decided which terminal or berth the vessel is going to. So again, he goes on board, he confirms with the captain
mm,
which berth he's going to, and he decide which side the vessel is going to tie up. If you have 2 sides of the vessel, one port side and one starboard side, they will decide what side the vessel is going to. They'll discuss what's the configuration of the ropes. There's how many ropes that they're going to use to tie up the vessel. They will discuss how many tugs are going to come and where the tugs are going to come and tie up and help with the vessel. Then they'll discuss a lot of other things like what is going to be the speed and how the engines are working, what route he's going to take into that port, and what is going to be the depths of water and all the stuff. So he will discuss that with the master. They have something called a master pilot checklist. They will go through that checklist and sign. They both come to an agreement, and then the pilot, what is just an advisory. The master is still overall in command of the vessel, but the pilot is just plays an advisory role, and he will be giving orders to the thing, to the pilot, to the master, and which the ship's crew will follow the orders and take the vessel to the berth.
mm. And
So the pilot will, I don't know they report to. They have their own scheduling, which they will get the information. And anything he will report to his organization. Like they have any pilots have any issues on board, they have their what you call hazmat or whatever hazardous has rep they call it. They have different reporting format, different tools for reporting non-compliances or anything which was there on board the vessel. They have their forms to report certain issues.
okay. And what would be their main priorities?
Again, to
What would be their
safely
main priorities? Yeah.
yeah, to safely and efficiently take the vessel alongside to
Mm.
the berth without any damage or without any incidents.
And what sort of improvement will they be looking out for to, improve their current workflow?
Pilots, they don't have any equipment. They will be solely relying on the performance of the vessel's equipment.
Mm.
Okay. Uh, they have other tools like GPSs and DGPSs, differential GPSs, which they bring on board to assist in their navigation. That's all with charts and electronic media which they use to
Yeah,
assist in their navigation. But the main thing for the navigation is their skill and experience.
I see.
Okay, okay.
Mm.
And they will solely rely on all the ship's equipment because whatever happens, they are using the ship to bring it alongside, and they're using the assistance of tugs. Okay, so the process of taking the ship from the pilotage point where the pilot boards to the terminal will depend on the performance of the ship and the performance of the tugs. Okay, any incident could be related to tugs and ship. Okay, it's called a team. They work as a team, the
Mm.
bridge team and the tug team. The tug also, the pilot will be giving commands to the tug. He can say push or pull or whatever, however he wants the tug to do. But if the tug doesn't follow those instructions or some miscommunication is there or some equipment falls, say the tug is asked to pull at half speed and then he did, by mistake they gave full speed,
Yeah.
it can cause the rope to break.
Yes.
Okay, so different things are there. So the full process works as a team. They have the tugs, they have the ship's team, and
Mm.
the pilot gives his orders, commands, whatever is guidance.
What sort of common challenges will they face in their
Common
daily?
challenges are sometimes there is a lot of communication going on, cross communication while they're navigating in a port because
Mm.
other ships are going in and other out, other ships coming in the channel. Uh,
Yeah.
So again, it's all their skill and experience in navigating in the channel.
Mm.
Big thing is sometimes communication.
I see.
Okay, communication because they're dealing with different nationality. An Australian may come here and a Singaporean ship comes into the port.
Yeah.
The pilot gives his command in an Australian accent.
Mm.
A Singaporean or a Chinese crew may not understand what he's saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so those common challenges are there.
Mm.
They use standard vocabulary, maritime vocabulary, which is
Mm.
supposed to be all seafarers are to understand, but the
Yeah.
vocabulary with different accents and different dialects with things people misinterpret it.
Oh dear. And
Okay,
how do they overcome them?
you can't overcome them. It all depends on experience. Okay, it all depends on supervision, the master, because the master or whoever is the officer on bridge, somebody has to be switched on and notice what is going on. The pilot also may say he may give a command to do something, but something he does it the opposite way. So he has to
Mm.
monitor it. It's all basically close monitoring is very important to ensuring all these incidents or whatever are not does not result in an incident. Small mishaps or near misses will not result in an incident, provided these guys are closely monitoring it and it can be
Mm.
corrected in the effective time. It's not an action taken and it's not goes unnoticed over a long period of time can result in an incident.
And
Okay.
what would be their safety point of view?
Safety point of view is they would need to know the reliability of the vessel. Pilots having a good idea of the vessel, a good vessel, a well-maintained vessel will make the pilot happier, give him more confidence. When a pilot goes on board a vessel and say he has a vessel which he tells him to go ahead, go at certain speed, and he does not build a certain speed, then he's going to have problems. Because certain times what happens is a ship is going into a port where she needs to pass under because what we call is the depths of the port may not be enough for the vessel to go in. Okay,
I
so
see.
the vessel needs to go in at a certain tide. So when the tide is high, the clearances are more. So sometimes the tide is all dependent. The vessel will be sailing to go to that point to reach at that point with that so that she can pass maybe a shallow water, shallow patches over there. So the vessel may need the tide and she may, to be at that point, she has to go to certain speed. If the vessel can't perform and as the engines are not performing well and does not reach that point, it could be result in something the vessel running aground. So the safety of the performance of the vessel is a very important factor in determining how effectively the pilot performs his role.
Mm. How do they manage, the safety issue?
Manage it's just again by communication. If they have a problem, they have to take. No fix. There is no fixed template how you're going to manage this issue. This issues could be anything. It could be quite complex. It could be a simple issue. Again, it is how the effectiveness of the team working together. Okay, so there's no fixed set rules like how I'm going to have this issue and I'm going to manage it this way. You can't say it. It's all very on the spot decisions need to be made. It can be dependent on the captain, on the master, on the pilot, on the chief engineer, or even the duty officers, whoever at that point of time, whoever is there at the scene.
I see. And who do they usually report safety issue to?
Again, the same. They have their own reporting protocols.
Mm.
So they will put in, they have like a pilot has a safety issue. He has a form to fill in a safety report, a feedback form. He will submit it to the organization and they will forward it to us. Either give it to the agent or give it, probably they will take it up with the port authorities.
I see. And what sort of tools are they currently using to, make such a report? Do they use email or do they, is there any digital tools that they use or they rely on traditional as in emails or in
They
paper
have
format?
each thing has its own organization. Each organization has its own forms of for putting in reports. It could be an incident report, it could be a near miss report, or whatever they could be using. So each organization, there's no standard format which they use. Each organization have their own formats.
And what are the ones that you come across more commonly? Do they
Sorry?
use email to flag out all these reports and incidents and such, or they have a digital tool most of the time?
Oh, to be very frank, I've not had many incidents. I don't have no clue about what they use. But from hearsay, like what we receive from Rightship, I've seen the uh they have, each one has their own reporting format. They use a paper format, a document, a PDF format, which they fill in and send to us.
I see. And then in that case, are they tech savvy?
Not really. They're not
Not
really
really.
tech savvy.
Hmm. Have you came across any of the pilot that is currently using Rightship?
A few offshore people, the pilots, offshore pilots who do off or not assigned to terminals, they have this oil and gas pilots. They use a Rightship format to report incidents.
And
Like it's
let's
called
say
a
if,
feedback report. A feedback
oh,
report.
I see. Okay, feedback report.
Hmm.
And if they are not Rightship user, what do you think would entice them to come on board?
Giving the safety score on vessels performance of a history of having we have the thing of the vessel's PSC and incident performance.
Mm,
So that will probably give them a fair idea of the type of vessel they're going to deal with.
I see. And who would be paying for such functionality?
Obviously, it's going to be them. We are not going to give it free to them.
So are you saying that it would be their company?
Sorry, the company will have to pay for it. Yep.
Okay. Um, what other features do you think that they will need other than the ones that you have mentioned?
Um, Mm-hmm. See, because now most of them can track the ships. They have features where they can track the ships. They have their own, what you call it, uh, DGPS, which is interface with what is called AIS.
Yeah.
Okay, AIS is a automatic identification system for ships. So they are able to track the ships. So that is a tool which they would be probably using on their phones to track ships and identifying ships, which is already there.
Okay, it's already there.
Yes.
Right.
Okay, so when they come on board, they have a portable GPS or DGPS. They call it differential direction thing.
Mm.
That's more accurate. They use those to to track the ships, and they also have their maps in that.
Mm.
So those are the aids which they would use to get the ships in.
I see.
Okay, but knowing the performance of the vessel and the history of the vessel would be just an additional thing to them, just to give them a bit of caution that oh, this type of vessel has bad history
Mm.
because we have the history of the vessel.
Yeah.
Okay, so you could be more cautious about it.
Okay, good point. Okay, let's move on to the next one, which is the role of a birth planner. What would be their role like as a birth planner?
Again, he's opting for the operational planning and berth allocation of two vessels. That will be depending on the vessel size
Yeah.
and the what type of commodity the vessel is handling.
Mm.
Okay, so the berth could be an oil berth, it could be a grain berth, it could be a bulk carrier berth. Okay, certain berths are only designed for certain cargoes. Okay, so that person will be, he'll have an idea of about the port, or it could be about a terminal. It could be looking at the port wise or the terminal wise. And he'll be looking at those things towards assigning the vessel to the required berth.
See. And who do they report to?
Hmm. That would depend on how whether it comes under the port or it comes under a terminal. The terminals have their own berth planners, so they will be reporting to their managers. Basically,
Okay.
it could be the terminal manager
Mm.
or the port manager.
Right. And what would be their daily routine like as a birth planner?
Again, they will be actually they will be looking at. I'm just talking from a layman's person. I'm not have
Mm.
experience in working as a bird planner or whatever.
Yeah,
From
sure.
my outlook of it,
Yeah.
they will be just getting information on vessels coming, which vessel is coming to which berth. They would get the plans of the vessel. What I told you, these drawings to see the vessel's compatibility because each berth will be assigned to certain size. See, like a berth could be can only accommodate a vessel of so and so size. She's designed to take certain strengths. Okay, so you can take certain loads. So I can't
Mm.
bring a big passenger vessel and put it on a fishing berth.
Mm.
Okay, so that berth will have its own characteristics. So he will need to see, he'll have a profiting of what the berth loads it can take. So say made for an example, a berth may be designed to take only up to 10,000 tons dead weight, what is called dead weight of a vessel. Okay, dead weight is the cargo carrying capacity of a vessel. A berth can have maybe 10,000 tons and 100 meters the maximum length of a vessel. So he will look at all these factors.
Yeah.
You'll get from the plans, they will know what is the dead weight of the vessel, what is the length overall of the vessel, what is the displacement. Displacement is the total weight of the vessel.
Mm.
Okay. So you will know what is that and what is the bird characteristics, how much it can be take, what is the depth of water at that bird, how deep is the vessel coming at that bird, how you will how what is the vessel's worst condition, where when what will be the deepest draft the vessel is going to come at that bird. So he will be looking at all those character factors and giving the bird clearance.
And what are their main priorities?
Main priorities again would be ensuring the safety of the vessel.
Mm,
Okay, to ensure that there is no uh, mismatch. You don't get a wrong size of vessel coming to a berth. A vessel may come to a berth, so she may be 10 meters of depth in what the draft, what you call it, the vessel's depth is called draft when she's loaded. So you may the whereas the berth may be only up to 9.8 meters. Okay, so he may get the wrong vessel coming to the berth, and then the vessel comes and runs aground at the berth. So his priority would be to ensure the safety of the vessel. No incidents happen, nothing takes place at the berth.
I see. Is there any areas or improvement they will be looking out for?
It's difficult for me to answer this question, Zoe.
Mm, okay,
Unless
no
I'm working
issue.
on it, I
Mm,
wouldn't have no things. Probably any
mm,
automated things of areas of improvement is the automated thing. Once he say like the characteristics of the vessel which we have in our platform, the length overall, the things, the uh, oh, we are the general dimensions of the vessel, and if any improvements, if we have certain factors of that berth, say maximum draft of the vessel, maximum length overall of the vessel. So it could do a comparison of the information we have in our system versus the birth comparison and then spit out an answer. Okay, this vessel meets this birth criteria.
okay, okay. And are there any common challenges that they face?
Mhm. I wouldn't be able to say that unless I was
Mm,
working as a birth planner. I wouldn't. You probably need to get to meet such people to find out their challenges, Zoe.
no, okay, no worries on that. And what do you think is their safety point of view as a birth planner?
As I said, yes, ensure this vessel comes to the bird safely and departs from the bird safely.
I see. And if there's any safety issue that arise, how do they manage? Any understanding on that?
Mm, that's safety issues can be so many issues. Yes, it can be so many range of a wide range of issues.
Mm,
Okay, it could be issues with the vessel. It could be vessels with the bird. Okay, so that's all. Like say, a vessel may come to a bird. Okay,
mm,
and she comes and she there knows that her gangway can't be put underground because she got some obstructions
mm,
on the jetty on the wharf. So the vessel may need to move here and there. So it depends on the spot what is the issue. So safety issues can be different things.
mm.
Okay.
And
It could be some electrical wire from the terminal passing near the vessel. It could be a shock hazard. It could be a ship's ropes not able to be passed properly to give the ship a proper uh, hold the vessel properly safely at the berth. It
mm,
could be a safety issue with the vessel being close to the beach and a lot of swell coming. So a lot of issues come everything. So it's all depend. We can't have a set questions how we're going to manage each issue. Each
mm,
boat and each berth is going to be quite different from the one another.
mm.
Okay,
Uh,
so telling how to handle each safety issue, it can this unless there's a single issue, we can say how to handle. But that every issue, each one, based on each person's experience, knowledge, and the situation, they'll have to deal with it accordingly. Okay, some issues maybe you have the time, some issues you won't have the time. Maybe a storm is coming or something is coming into the thing. Each thing is going to be different.
Yeah, sure. But if there's any safety issue that arise, yeah, who do they report to?
If their manager, their manager who is in charge of them. Okay, it could be the supervisor or a thing. They have their own way of reporting issues.
Any understanding of their, what are the tools they are currently using?
No,
Okay. And do you think they are tech savvy?
not to my knowledge.
Have you came across any birth planner that is currently using RightShip?
No.
And if if we would like to attract this group of user, what do you think will entice them to come on board on RightShip? What would be would entice them to use RightShip?
Wouldn't I don't see much scope in that thing. To my knowledge, I don't see any scope for using RightShip platform for birth planning.
Birth planner.
Yeah, because if we have because most of the uh ports and terminals, we have something called a guide to port entry, which is a very comprehensive book. It's the guide which gives every detail about the port. Okay. So if we have such a thing, which we don't, it's already been there for ages, the guide to port entry. So that gives you every detail, like who, if this bird, what is the depth, this thing, who are to contact if you have a issue, immigration, police, whatever. So those things are all in that guide to port entry. So these guys would be also using the guide to port entry to a limited extent, not like a ship extent. So they have these information and guides. It's all in electronic formats now. So they would be using that more than our platform. So if we
How
had
do
that
they?
database of guide reports and
Yeah.
or we have the other thing is if we have say incidents and whatever moving incidents, are there some things which happened at their birth? It could be as in like a they have records and they can know what is the causes and they could take steps to improve. But I see very uh, limited avenues to get into these fields.
But let's say, not, let's say anything is possible. So what would be useful to them? Would it be like, you mentioned the guide to port information?
I wouldn't be able to comment much on this, Zoe, because I'm not worked in this department. I don't just I'm talking from my
Yeah.
general knowledge.
Yes.
Okay, I don't have expert knowledge in these fields. Okay.
No worries. We just want to capture, probably like, based on, your own understanding, what are the possibilities and such.
Yeah.
Okay. No. So maybe we can just move on to the next row.
Yep.
Okay. The role of a terminal manager. What is their role like as a terminal manager?
Again, is overall responsibility and accountability in the safety and everything is safety and efficiency of the terminal.
Mm. But what would be their role like? I mean, in comparison to other roles as a terminal manager, what is their key role?
He will be overall in charge of the terminal,
Mm.
and again, is ensuring the safety of vessels and the terminal assets. The terminal assets could be whatever infrastructure over there is there in the terminal. It may be the cranes, it could be conveyor belts, it could be uh, forklifts, it could be uh, the mooring equipment in the terminal. It could be the terminal has oil booms, pollution prevention equipment, firefighting equipment, uh, communication equipment, lighting, uh, all the stuff in the terminal. He would be overall in charge of this.
See, okay, that's good. And who do they report to?
Terminal will be again through the terminal, the whoever they have their hierarchy over there.
Mm-hmm.
So they have the organizational chart over there. Whoever is there, depending on their thing, he could be a senior manager or another uh, CEO or a C operating officer, whoever he is. It's
Mm.
not uh, it's not specific. They don't have a thing. Each terminal could have their own hierarchy over there.
Okay. And what is the daily routine like as a terminal manager? Any idea on that one? Like their daily routine?
Yeah, they would just basically ensure vessels have been at the terminals are effectively performing.
Mm.
Okay, so you would need to know if the terminals, if vessel is there, and because they need to, other things are being scheduled to the vessel, to that
Mm.
terminal. Okay, so his thing is to ensure the ship is efficiently performing. Okay, a
Mm.
ship may be at the terminal, and another ship may be scheduled to berth at this terminal. Okay,
Mm.
so it's all on efficiency. So say ship A is at this terminal, and ship B has to come in from the anchorage and come at this terminal once the ship A gets out at this terminal.
Yeah.
So what happens is the ship A is having an issue. So she's going to say she's supposed to discharge at 5,000 tons an hour.
Mm.
But ship A is suddenly discharging only 4,500 tons. She's underperforming.
Yeah.
Okay, she's going to get delayed. Ship B has to come in. So she's going to have a problem with coming in.
Yes.
Okay, that ship is going to get delayed. So the ship B may be having a pilot booked. So he will have to keep the other parties informed. Like the agents will be informed, the pilots will, so many parties in a port, so many people are involved. The harbor master will be governed overall in charge, but harbor master will have to inform the pilots. So all the agents are there in the middleman. So the ship does not communicate with everybody. The ship's direct contact is with the agent.
Mm.
Okay, well, the agent is appointed for the ship. So the ship will keep updating the agent, and also the immediate first closest person to the agent is the terminal representative, the stewardess, and whoever are there on board the ship, liaising between the ship and the terminal, because they will be continuously monitoring and having an idea how much more to go when the ship is expected to finish.
Mm.
So the terminal manager will definitely have to be liaising with his other authorities to tell them what is happening and when the ship is expected to sail out.
Mm.
So
Okay.
the main thing is the efficiency of the vessel and the safety of the vessel. Because tomorrow another vessel comes in, this vessel has does some thing and say maybe she has an oil pollution. The terminal can't take another ship in because the other ship will also get all this hull will get coated with oil or whatever.
Mm.
So the scenarios can be different. I'm just giving from a simple example.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
So
And
maybe the ship comes and ties up at this terminal, and while they are unmooring, she breaks off the fenders of the terminal.
mm.
Okay, or she comes and bangs against the terminal and breaks the fenders of the terminal. So he needs to see that his terminal is ready to safely and efficiently keep the vessel alongside at this terminal and perform its task, what it's scheduled to, basically unloading or discharging at that terminal.
Mm. And what sort of priorities, what are their main priorities?
Again, it's safety, efficiency,
Okay.
safety and efficiency.
What would you think, what would be the area of improvement they will be looking out for?
Area of improvement. Anyone will look for a thing is a faster turnaround. Fast turnaround does not mean at the cost of safety,
Yeah.
compromising safety.
Yes.
So everything boils down to efficiency and safety, but at no point should safety be compromised. Always, everyone is looking at efficiency. Efficiency, lesser time at the terminal, better turnaround for the terminal. Because if the ship spends less time at the terminal, the ship pays put dues for the terminal, the use of the terminal. Okay, if they can accommodate more ships at the terminal, it's going to be more revenue for the terminal. Okay, so and ultimately everything boils down to money. Time is money. So the less time a ship taking comes, the more ships they can get to the terminal, it is better for them.
I
But the
see.
more ships, they should not compromise on safety. So
Yeah.
the best thing is safe operations and safe and efficient operations of ships is the key to their main priority.
Mm. And what would be their common challenges that they would face as a
Common
terminal manager?
challenges
Mm.
is ships getting delayed, ships coming and damaging their terminal, ships polluting their terminal,
Yeah.
okay, or some equipment in the terminal breaking down and not able to discharge from the ship.
Mm.
Okay,
How would they overcome them?
again, they have their own technical people to assist in the terminals. Okay, they have manpower, they have labor, they have
Yeah.
their engineers, they have their other things. They will get them to involved in it.
Oh, I see. Okay, that's good.
They have their own maintenance people.
Uh,
So they will come and attend to those whatever problems they are facing.
and what would be their safety point of view as a terminal manager?
Safety point of view, I don't get what you're looking at.
As in, yeah, their expectation of for safety in a
Yeah,
terminal.
that each one will have their own motive that will be like either no harm to the environment, no harm to the people, no
Mm.
uh uh no delays to the poor terminal. Those will be their key KPIs.
Mm. I see. Um, who do they report safety issue to?
That's they have their own uh methods of reporting safety. So they will be guided by whatever they have, whatever policies and practices they have in the terminal, they will be guided by that.
See. And what sort of tools they are using right now? And any understanding? Do they use digital tools?
Yeah, they use mostly internet or online available resources are available. The terminal managers would also looking at like what they have. They use quite often. They use marine traffic is one of the
Uh-huh.
tools which they use to get an assessment of other ships coming in and where she's staying, how far their expectations. They would be using weather tools also. They would be using weather maps and all this to know when the thing is. Electronic things for weather forecasts and all that. They will be looking at those tools. They would be looking at uh, tidal conditions. Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, tidal conditions. They'll be looking at those things at the brings. And they also will be looking at the location of the port and whatever. They have other stuff to check at their terminals, like the depth of water, and they'll have surveys and other stuff like the mooring equipments and all that. They would be basically digital tools. I'm not too very sure what they use, but these commonly from terminals they look at ships tools for finding location of ships to have I have an idea of their planning ahead, and they use this like marine traffic and ship finder. They use those, and they use weather tools.
Okay, cool. And can we say that they are tech savvy?
Certainly, they are.
Have you came across any terminal managers that is currently using RightShip?
Now,
And if they are not, right, what do you think will entice them to use RightShip?
again, as I said, for pilots, knowing the type of vessel where she has a history of incidents and history of posted controls, they will be looking at this to know what type of vessel coming to their terminal. You there?
Oh
Hello?
yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Sorry.
Uh, okay, sorry. My next question is that, if they do adopt RightShip digital products, who do you think will be like the paymaster for all this adoption?
The terminal itself, whoever the terminal would be, they would be playing it, they themselves.
Mm-hmm. And would there be any other features that you think that they might be looking out for?
Uh, the terminals would be basically looking at features more related to infrastructure, which is hardware in their terminals. Okay. And yeah, that's the main thing they will be looking at. They're getting new, say, like newer technology into their systems, into their terminals, more with infrastructure, more with advanced warning systems, more with electronics.
I see. Okay. I have no idea why there are construction going on at this hour, but if you don't mind, can we still move on to the next row?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so let's move on to the role of harbor master. What would be your understanding of the role of a harbor master?
The main role of harbor master or port authority is to is more a safety function in line with the governing, like the legislations of the port, the governing legislation. There is law set forth by the government. So those legislations need to be imposed. So the harbor master is looking at the port from a legislative point of view. Okay, for controlling and the movement of vessels in port. They're responding to
Okay.
emergencies in the port. Okay, and they look mostly at the water side of the things. Okay, some people look at some ports are divided into looking at the internal infrastructure. Some look at the water side of the things. That means they look at the channels of the port, the safe depths of the port, the navigational marks of the port, all those stuff.
Okay. And who would they be reporting to?
They will have their CEO of the port. Okay, they will be reporting to them.
What would be their daily routine like as a harbor master?
Again, he would be monitoring vessels or company. They have also what is called harbor masters also looks at this vessel traffic services also. So they get like vessels, they monitor vessels moving into the port and guidance given they have radar stations which monitor vessels coming into the port. So these harbor masters and vessel traffic services also report to the harbor. They come under the harbor master's powers. The pilots also come under the harbor master powers. So overall, the harbor master would be his daily routines would be coordinating with these people, these are the bodies, to ensure the efficiency of the port is at all times maintained.
Okay. And what would be their main priorities as a harbor master?
Firstly, is compliance with rules and the governing regulations of the port, which is set as a mandate by the government. It could be the state or a federal requirements. Okay, they'll be ensuring that the safety of the port is the port under their jurisdiction is safely maintained. Ensure that vessels coming into the port are free of incidents, are safely brought into the port, and ensuring the infrastructure, the waterside infrastructure is effectively maintained, and also be prepared for emergencies in the port.
I see.
Okay, emergencies in the port is like pollutions, groundings, cyclone storms, weather related in things. Okay. Then they also other things, search and rescue also they need to be prepared for. So all these things
Yeah.
they would have all there different bodies will be there. They have other smaller departments coming under their full authority.
Okay. Okay, moving forward to the next question is that what area of improvements do you think they'll be looking out for?
Again, they would knowing the type of vessels coming to the port would be an advantage to them. Okay. Then areas where we could because for them to to coordinate with them it's got to be a big task because they have other things and they're under their plate and they're not going to have our expertise of rightship where we could go back to them for reviewing incidents and closeouts and post-trade control inspections. we are doing it for them, or we are doing it for other vessels. So in that case, through the RightShip platform, they know that we are doing our vetting services. Vetting services would be an area of improvement for them.
Okay. Um, are there any common challenges that they will face?
Common challenges.
Mm,
The common challenges is, yeah, the common challenges which they face is these guys are not happy, could be not happy with the state condition of ships coming into the port.
mm,
Ships not disclosing, openly disclosing whatever deficiencies they have on board. A ship may come into
mm,
port maybe with two generators working. She's supposed to have three generators. She only has two generators. She doesn't have another bench generator on standby. So these are some of the common challenges they face. The ships come into the port. The ships supposed to have a draft. A draft. They wrongly declare the draft. The ship may say, okay, she's coming with 10 meters draft, but for some miscalculation, they come with 10.5 meters of draft. Okay, so those are some challenges which could lead to compromising the safety of the port. The ship may come in and give a disclosure, and then the pilots they do not verify it because sometimes out in the sea it's difficult to get unless the vessel is still and stopped, you can't get the proper reading of the draft. Ships can come and they can run aground and they can strike some obstruction because of lack of proper information.
mm. Okay. And how do they overcome them? What are the measures that they will have to take?
Oh, comment. Again, as I said, there's different scenarios for different challenges.
Mm,
It's quite
yeah.
widespread. There are thousands of challenges which can happen. So thousands of different incidents can happen. Each one can be uh, addressed in a different way,
Mm,
but there's no fixed template for how they opened it. It all again comes down to the experience of people there and what is the challenge. It's all you have to take action to deal with those challenges. There's not no fixed template how you're going to overcome it. Okay, it would depend on the type of challenge you're facing at that time.
mm. What would be the safety point of view as a harbor master?
Yeah, to maintain the harbor and the take in this to maintain its waterways so there is minimal safety impact on the port.
Okay. I think, yeah, this question may be a bit vague but how do they manage a safety issue? If there's any different types of safety issue that arise? Any understanding on this? Like maybe you want to share something that,
Yeah, that's something it's very, very complex. There's no
yeah,
fixed
no fix.
recipe for managing a safety issue.
Yeah,
Because safety issue can be anything.
yeah,
Okay, a
correct.
safety issue can be a person getting cut in his finger. A patient
Uh,
safety issue can be a ship running aground. A safety issue
yeah,
can be a fire on a ship. It could be a pipeline leaking in the terminal. It could be a gas, like maybe they have a gas leak in the terminal. There are
mm,
lots of millions of things you can think about. Okay, so there's no fixed things. Most of the terminals
yeah,
will have standard operating procedures
yeah,
for addressing issued, commonly faced issues. Okay. Say they say like a fire in this part of terminal, you use these extinguishers. Okay. for a first aid case, you do this. This is your medical thing. If you're an evacuation of the terminal, if there is a big fire, they say this is how you will evacuate. You'll have an evacuation point, a muster point.
Okay.
Okay,
So
so
they have a
each
standard protocol.
yeah, they have standard protocols for this.
And will they report safety issues to? Do they have
It
to
depends
report
again.
to
Okay, it could
anyone?
be a first aid. They could call 000 or the medics. It could be a fire. They'll have to call the fire brigade. Okay, so depending on the type of issue they're facing, again, it will be addressed in their terminal operating procedures, what to deal with.
Any idea that you came across that what sort of tools they are using?
A few terminals use RightShip to the ports, the port authorities, like Pilbara Port Authorities, like now Glasson Port Corporation. They're all looking at using RightShip thing to wet ships. The wetting services is what they will be looking at.
I see. Okay. And are they tech savvy?
Yes, they are. Most of them are tech savvy.
So you mentioned that some of them are using RightShip currently.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. And if for the non-user of RightShip, what do you think will entice them to come on board?
Non-user, not all, most of them, a few terminals, not all, a very, very small percentage of terminals are using RightShip platform for our wetting services.
Yeah.
So
That
we definitely have scope to give ports a larger, for pulling in a larger amount of ports to use our platform through our wetting services.
I see. Any other features do you think they'll need other than vetting?
The other features other than wetting for ports.
Like
It
any
may not,
features
may, they
that
may not, may they just want to just a background check on vessels, which is we could give them access to a platform rather than vetting. They can have access to the vessel history, how she's performed. A safety score would be a thing, or the quick wet would be another feature, which rather than giving them a cheaper option, because some ports have a lot of things, it may be a big cost for them. So the quick wet system would be a good feature which they could go in and look at a vessel rather than spit out a thing where, okay, she's good to go or not good to go.
Okay, that's good. All right, let's move on to the last row. The role of a port authority.
Yeah, they come under the same thing of the harbor master and port authority. They can both be combined in the same features.
Okay. So
Okay.
so what you're trying to say that is the port authority role and the harbor master is
Yeah, the
similar?
harbor master in charge of is the port authority.
Okay.
Okay.
And who does the port authority as an entity will report to?
No, the harbor master is overall in charge of the port authority. The port is assigned to a harbor master. The full authority of the port is assigned to the harbor master.
Okay.
Okay, and the harbor master will report to the CEO of the port.
And what would be the port authority routine like? Would it be the same as harbor master? Because
Yes. Port authority the port authority is not a port authority will be like a group of ports also coming. They can have different ports. A port authority will have maybe sub ports. So each one will have its own harbor master. So they'll all report to the same port authority. They all come under the same port authority.
Okay. But what is the main priorities for the Port Authority?
Like I said, the Port Authority again is comes under the Harbor Master. So the priorities will be the same to ensure the safe functioning of the in line with the governing authorities, controlling and directing movement of vessels in ports, responding to the emergencies, and looking at all the waterside infrastructure.
Okay. So in that regards, can I say that the improvement that they are looking out for would be the same as
Harbor Master,
what?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. And so in conclusion, can I say that a Port Authority and Harbor Master, is the same. They have the same goals and they are
The Harbor Master looks after the full port authority.
So any idea if they are using right ship?
Yes, the port authorities use right ship.
Okay. Which Port Authority that you know that is currently using right ship?
Pilbara Port Authorities.
I see. Okay. And if they are not using right ship, what do you think would entice, the Port Authority to be on board?
Main thing is wetting, do quick wets, and a safety score, and history of vessels. Also feedbacks from other ports, giving them sharing feedback reports from other ports, other terminals, will also give help them to have a fair idea of vessels calling their port.
Okay. And who pay for such adoption of digital products?
Who?
Yeah. I mean, within Port Authority, who would be paying for this? Paying for
The
right
port
ship
authorities
products.
only will be paying for it.
And can I say that their safety point of view is the same as the Harbor Master?
Yes.
And the challenges that they face will be the same.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, that's good. I think I gotten a lot of information for you, which is very useful.
I hope so.
Yeah, yes,
I'm
yes,
not
yes.
an authority. I'm just a no thing, just with seafaring background. And
Yeah.
I have not worked with anything. I'm just giving you from my perspective,
Yeah,
from a
yeah.
broad
So,
perspective.
and actually, that's what we are looking out for. So, we understand that the people that we spoke to do not have they are not working as the 6 roles that we are mentioned, but it's more as our initial research purpose to speak to you and the rest of the participants that who has relevant knowledge. So that is actually what we need to hear.
Okay.
Thank you so much for today. And if it's possible, do you think I can invite you back for the future sessions?
Yeah, I mean, depend on all depends on work, Zoe, because sometimes we are today we are struggling with the
Understand.
vets. Okay, so
Yeah.
anyway, today is Friday and we got an excuse. We're having drinks and presently UK won't be happy. We are leaving them with
But
about 47 vets in our system
yeah,
to
but
attend
thanks
to.
so much for your time.
No worries. You take care.
Thanks so much for your time.
Bye.
Yeah, you take care and yeah, take good care.
You
See you
too.
soon.
Bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.
No, you're not really running away. We're running into your hubby's arms or what? Oh my God. What happened?